Hello. Oh, God. I've just sat there and spoken to myself for half an hour because I didn't press go live. Oh, dear. That's not good, is it? Right. Everybody that's in the chat, thank you so much for waiting for a whole half hour. I've literally just been chatting. People have been putting stuff in the chat. I've been putting, oh, look, Ken Briggs put, must be last minute tech issues. I was going, what tech issues? And I was carrying on talking. Not good. I can't believe it. I've never done that before. Literally press go live on OBS, didn't press go live on the YouTube. I cannot believe it. Sam Crother's in the chat. He's alive. FPL Finn laughing out loud. Oh, I can't believe it. What an absolute mare I have had. Let's have a look and catch up with everybody that is actually in the chat. FanTeam is in the chat. FanTeam, I've been sat there on here saying, make sure you get your questions in. FanTeam are here. Absolutely disgusting. Corf is in the chat. Sean FPL is in the chat. Evening, everyone. Evening, mate. Nick Sharp is in the chat as well. Evening. Literally, I was wondering why nobody was putting questions in. I was saying continuously on the stream, get your questions in, guys. Get your questions in. Oh, dear. Not a good start. I'm going to have to do everything all over again, aren't I? Oh, dear. Right. Evening, everyone, for the second time of me saying it. So for everybody here, obviously tonight we're going to be looking at a few of my entries. You got a bit of a chance to chuck in any questions as well. We have now on FanTeam, you can see it over here, we have put together all of my streams that I've done so far on draftgym.com, so make sure you go over and have a look if you have missed any. So without any further ado, let's have a look at my teams. So this is my first entry. What we're going to be doing tonight is having a look at my entries, talking about what I'm thinking, and just giving you a chance to ask any questions before we get started as well, because actually it's one of those things where I feel a lot of people have a lot of questions still about FanTeam, and I don't know whether they've always got an outlet to ask it, if that makes sense. So make sure you chuck any questions in here. People loved it during the Euros. I loved it during the Euros as well, because it was one of those things where I think a lot of people started dipping their toe into it. Obviously, FPL is completely different. The Euros ruined us when France and Netherlands got knocked out, didn't they? And a lot of people actually stopped playing after that, which was great for a lot of us that carried on. But I feel like with the FPL, with the Premier League one, teams aren't going to get knocked out. So you can keep your interest the whole way through, and it's brilliant. And the viewers are going up for some reason. Now I'm actually doing it all for you. So this is one of my first entries. Now what I'm going to be doing, I've got 12 teams. I'm going to be doing 4 of one, 4 of another, 4 of another. So I've got 3 lots of 4 teams, basically. 4 lots of 3 teams, basically. I'm going to be changing them slightly, each one, but not loads. I had 18 teams for the Euros, and I found I really, really struggled to keep it going. I found it took the joy out of it a little bit for me. So what I'm going to be doing this time is I'm going to be having those 4 sets of 3 teams, because I feel like it's going to make it a lot easier maintenance-wise, personally. And I would recommend that for a lot of people that are going for multiple teams. What you really want is one of those to finish really high, and then obviously you get 4 of them finishing high, which is quite nice. Now, my team that I've got here, I really like this team. I feel like this team is set up to do well. I feel like there are a few little bits that I don't like about it. The main things I don't like about it are all my outfield players, so my midfielders and strikers, going to be getting me those bonus points for 90 minutes? Potentially not, but we'll have a chat about that in a minute. Starting at the back with Martinez, he's my favourite keeper in this game. If money wasn't an issue, Martinez would be my keeper, literally every week. He'd be my keeper in FPL as well. But 5.5 million is a lot to spend on a keeper. I do really like him because he keeps save points. He gets you save points. He keeps clean sheets. This team relies on him to get clean sheets as well. It's not like their defence is great. They do concede shots. And I think Martinez is one of those players where he will continue like he has done last year. He is a quality keeper. He's Argentina's number 1 now. He's got pedigree. So I think Martinez is a great... I genuinely... He'd be my keeper in every team if money wasn't an issue. Then at the back, we've got Alexander-Arnold, White and Soufal. Alexander-Arnold's in every one of my teams. I think he's a quality asset to own in FanTeam. He will have shots on target. Not many, but he will have shots on target. I think he averaged 2 shots a game last year, which is great. Ben White, I think, is a great 4.5 million defender. He will play every game. They've spent a lot of money on him. Arsenal were very good defensively last year as well. So there's nothing wrong with Ben White. You can see that I've had to include Ben White in my starting lineup, though, because of Martinez. So you either have Martinez and a 4.5 million defender, or I would have a 4.5 million keeper and then a 5.5 million defender, personally, I think. But Ben White's fine. There's not much upside there, but actually I'm probably going to be rotating him with my other 4.5 million defenders on the bench. So Ayling, Semedo, I'm going to be swapping all them around all the time, really. I'm just looking at Sam Crowther in the crit chat saying he's alive. I can't believe I've started like that. Soufal at 5 million, I love in this game. I think 5 million, 0.5 million less than Cresswell was an absolute bargain. He was a better asset than Cresswell at the end of last year, mainly because Cresswell was starting to play as a left centre-back in that back three. If they're going to continue with a back three, Soufal's an even better option. If they're in a back four, Soufal is a good option too. So I really like him personally. Then in that midfield, look at this midfield in terms of upside. Mahrez, Barnes, Salah, Fernandes and Buendia. Now, Pranil Gandhi's just said it in the chat, and that is my biggest worry with this team, is are they going to be getting 90 minutes all the time? Because actually, if I can get my midfield five to get 90 minutes every week, it's an extra 5 points, and it does make a big difference. Mahrez, I think there's never been a better time to gamble on Mahrez than there is now. De Bruyne are out and Foden out, and Sterling's had it. He went obviously long into the Euros. I think there's never been a better time to own Mahrez. I feel like Pep is going to rely on goal scorers as well, and he's probably one of the only goal scorers left in the team apart from Gundogan. So I think Mahrez is a great pick to start with. He will most probably turn into Son maybe for game week 3. So he's more of a 2-game week punt, just because the upside really is there. He's such a good player when he plays and when he gets minutes. So I don't have an issue so much getting him. I just feel like the upside's there for the first couple of weeks. And if you can guarantee that a Man City player is going to play, you're going to get him. I feel like you're as close to a guarantee as you're going to get. And also he's captain potential for game week 2 against Norwich, isn't he? So I do really like Mahrez. I think Barnes is much of the same ilk in terms of, is he going to get you 90 minutes? Potentially not. But is the upside enough to counterweigh the fact that he might not get you 90 minutes? Yes, I think it is. He looked great the other day against Man City. Is he looking a bit ex-lively? Yes, he is. He's looking like one of those players that could flatter deceive a bit, but I think he's one of these players that are going to take a step up this year, personally. FPL Finn says, looking like Buendia may not be fit enough for game week 1 now too. Yeah, I know, which is a bit gutting, personally. I've had him in a lot of my drafts. I'm starting to take Aston Villa players out of my team at the moment, which I hate because they got such nice first fixtures. But I feel like Buendia, if he plays, he's fine. I'm not in love with him personally. I think for 6.5 million, there's potential there for me to downgrade to someone like Smith Rowe or Sarr, even Sarr. And I feel like Buendia is one of those players. He's not going to be getting in the box, is he? He's not a goal scorer. Yes, he did very well last year with assists and a few goals because Norwich were the best team in the league last year, weren't they? So in Championship, by the way, not the Premier League. But if there's any hint that he's not going to play, I think he's probably going to come out. It's tough in this one. I mean, in FPL, Rafinha's 6.5 million. So I'd be probably taking him out for Rafinha, but he's not. He's 7.5 million in FanTeam. So I feel like that's a bit too much for him personally. He's not in any of my drafts. But Buendia, what I would probably do is probably downgrade him. Probably downgrade him to someone like Sarr or someone like Emil Smith-Rowe and just go for the upside player there, really. And then maybe upgrade White or Semedo on my bench there. What I have done in 4 of my entries, which are all going to be the same, I've got Bruno. In another 4, I don't have Bruno. I feel like he's one of those players that's going to be so heavily owned. And there's real question marks as to whether he's going to continue like he was at the end of last year. At the end of last year, he didn't have a good end of the season. He was shattered, don't get me wrong. And he didn't have, obviously, a great Euros because they weren't really playing to his strengths. And I do just wonder whether it's worth, if you've got multiple entries, doing a Bruno team and doing a Bru Yes team. Sorry for the little, crap little pun there. But I do like Salah and Bruno as a pair. I think Salah's captainable in 4 of the first 6 fixtures. Bruno's captainable in at least one of them. I think it's game week 4 he's got the best fixture. So I do like having them together, but it is worth having a look at what you can do if you take Bruno out, especially if you want Mane. And I've given you a little bit of a teaser here for my second entry, because Mane's only 10 million. And if you go from Bruno to Mane and you free up 2 million, you'd be shocked at what you can do with that money. So Ken Briggs says, Watkins hobbled off in-game today thinking of playing Ings. Yeah. Oh, it just worries me, though. It worries me about this Villa team, and it worries me about Dean Smith as well. It worries me whether he's going to start defensive first and whether they're going to be as good an asset as we think they're going to be. Watkins was in all of my teams to start with, but as soon as Ings signed, I'm thinking they're probably going to play 4-4-2, and I'm thinking they're going to be those two up top, but at the same time, is Watkins going to start drifting to the left? Is Ings going to take penalties from him? And there's all these question marks that start coming into my head. If they didn't have 3 great fixtures at the start, I wouldn't even be considering them, I don't think. So it is worth having a think about that. Ken Briggs, by the way, you'll be happy to know, I said your dad joke on stream when I thought I was live. So I was saying the dad joke while nobody else was actually watching because I thought I was live. So I hope you appreciate that, mate. FanTeam says, if Kane goes to City, what percentage of teams do you think he will be in? Well, he's not going to go before game week 1. So I think it's going to be, as soon as he signs, I think a lot of people will be moving things around to get him in. I won't be getting him in. He's so tough. I won't be getting him in straight away because I want to see whether he's fit to start straight away. But if there's any inkling that he's going to come in and he's going to start straight away, I mean, it's going to be hard not to go with him, isn't it? I think his percentages are going to creep up quite a bit each game week that he's in the team and each game week that he's starting. But I don't think he's going to be in any teams to start with, obviously. It's just about whether we want to jump on him straight away. I feel like with Kane, if he joins before game week 2 against Norwich and we feel like he's going to play, I'm going to find it hard not to get him in. And I'm going to find it hard not to downgrade Bruno and upgrade Antonio there. But Lukaku, I don't feel like that with. I feel like I'd wait with Lukaku. 10.5 million, by the way, FanTeam. Great price there. I feel like I would be happy to wait for him until game week 7. I want to see how he fits into the Chelsea team. I want to see how he comes in and whether he's getting 90 minutes straight away. And I feel like game week 7's perfect because that's when their fixtures change and that's when I would probably want Lukaku. By the way, I've drunk half a can while I was doing my stream to nobody just a minute ago. Maestro, what do you think about Sterling? I don't think I'd be on Sterling to start with. I think he's going to have a very good year. I feel like his confidence has gone up a lot from the Euros. He had a great Euros, obviously. I feel like his confidence has gone up. He's a real confidence player. I wouldn't be starting with him because I feel like Mahrez has got more of that upside to start with. He had a long Euros and Pep's already said he's not interested in playing players that have had a long Euros. They need a bit of a rest. So I think Mahrez is the City player I'd be going with. I'm also a little bit tempted by Gundogan. I do like Gundogan personally. I feel like with no set striker up top, he could be taking those positions that he was last year. And he obviously did some incredible damage in the middle of last year. So I do like Gundogan as an option personally. And Torres, somebody mentioned Torres before. Simon Thompson, are you tempted by Torres at all, Andy? Same logic as Mahrez. When Torres first signed for City, I loved him. And I love the fact he can play up top. I just feel like Mahrez is the proven asset in this team that Pep can maybe rely on a little bit more. It's tough to go between the two personally, but I think Mahrez is definitely the way I'm going between them. Torres could be a great shout. I mean, if you wanted to own both, then fair play. But I think Mahrez is definitely the way I'd be going. Maestro, which is the best mid option to start from City? Yeah, it's Mahrez for me, definitely. Ken Briggs, lucky me. I know, mate. Lucky you. Sam Crowther, Kane would be a dream for late registration teams. Yeah, as long as he is definitely starting from game week 2. If he is, then yeah, Jesus. I mean, you could get him in, captain him straight away, and you could make up a lot of the points you didn't get from game week 1 straight away, couldn't you? Simon Thompson, thoughts on Dallas as an alternative 5.5 pick? Heard he would have actually scored more points as a mid than defender last year on FanTeam. Yeah, he would, which is really interesting. For me, my biggest worry with Dallas is as soon as they've got a problem in defence, he's going back in defence, isn't he? He was great last year. He really was good last year. But he hasn't been in any of my teams. And I think that's because I see more upside with players like Harrison and Rafinha. Harrison maybe less so because he's probably less likely to get 90 minutes. But Dallas at 5.5 million, I think it's fine. I think a lot of people are probably off him because of that first fixture, because it's against Manchester United, and which is fine. You know, that is going to be a tough fixture. I can maybe see a narrow United winning that one. I think it's maybe going to be only 1-0, something like that, which isn't a lot, obviously. I don't think it's going to be like when we played them last time and McTominay got a brace in the first 10 minutes. But I feel like Dallas can be a good pick, and maybe people are overlooking him, but he hasn't been in any of my drafts. I prefer, in the 5.5 million bracket, I actually prefer players like Mbuemo and Emil Smith-Rowe. For some reason, I see more of an upside in them personally, but I wouldn't begrudge anybody that goes for Dallas. Ken Briggs says Benrahma, Fornals or Bowen. Oh, easy for me, Benrahma. Absolutely love Benrahma at the moment. Great preseason. And it seems to me a little bit like the team is starting to... Moyes is starting to make Benrahma that X-factor focal point in the attacking midfield area, and everybody else around him just has to do their jobs, and I really like that. You think they've got Souček, Rice, Bowen, Antonio. I mean, obviously Antonio does a lot of the running as well, but I feel like Benrahma is going to have that free reign to just be that X-factor in the middle there, and that really excites me. Is he nailed? No. You've got to say that. He isn't nailed. Is he a bit of a risk? Yes. But for 6 million, I genuinely think if Buendia was a bit of a doubt, I think it'd be Emil Smith-Rowe or Benrahma that I go in for here. I don't necessarily like Benrahma and Antonio as a pair. I don't think I'd be going for them together, but I do really like Benrahma. FPL Pie, evening mate. Thoughts on Greenwood? Is Martial now completely out of the picture? No, he is not. Martial is not out of the picture. He is, to be honest, he's more likely to play up front because Cavani's not going to be back straight away. I love Greenwood. I genuinely love Greenwood. 7.5 million though. I struggle to go to 7.5 million. He's just in that middle bracket for me. I think I would prefer players like Barnes, Mahrez. Mahrez a bit more, Barnes is a bit less. Just because Greenwood, is he going to make 90 minutes? No, probably not. Is he explosive and brilliant when he plays? Yes, he is. And I can understand anybody going for him. A lot of people have been wondering about whether Greenwood can cover Fernandes, and I don't think he could. I think if I had Greenwood, I want Fernandes and Greenwood, because if Greenwood does well, it's because we're scoring goals, and Fernandes will most likely be involved in those. So I think I'd want both. I don't think I'd want Greenwood to cover Fernandes. I said this the same with Sancho as well. Obviously, Sancho's not fit to start, but I wouldn't want Sancho instead of Fernandes. I would want Fernandes and one of them, if that makes sense. Simon Thompson, cheers. Any ideas on Van D? Seems more chatter he will start week 1. I still don't think he will, especially because it's an easy fixture. Playing against Norwich away, I don't know why they would risk him if he's not 100% ready to go, and he didn't look 100% in the pre-season game I watched him in. I don't know why they'd risk him. They brought this young lad in, haven't they? Konate, I think it is, and they probably play Matip as well. I don't see why against Norwich away. I mean, if you've got these players and you can't play them against Norwich away, I don't know why you bother. So I don't think he'll play, personally. He's brilliant to bring up because I think for 6 million in this game, I mean, it's such a shame Robertson's out, obviously, but I think 6 million is a great option for him. I genuinely do. I think he's up there with the City defenders in Diaz and Stones. Stones is obviously only 5.5, but I do really like him as an option once he's fit. I just want to see him in for a couple of weeks and make sure that he is completely 100%. And then up top, Antonio. I love Antonio's fixtures to start with, and when he's fit, he scores goals, so he's in my team. Tony for 6 million is a gift. I think 6 million for a player that's going to be scoring goals in the league. I think he will do well this year. I think he'll get somewhere between 12 and 15 goals this year, which, if you're getting 12 to 15 goals, I think that's absolute bargain for 6 million. You'd want that from a player, wouldn't you? So, he's locked in pretty much all of my drafts. And then bench, Ayling, Semedo, 4.5 million defenders that can just rotate with White, and Obafemi could play some games for Southampton, but he's never going to make my team anyway. So, then we go on to my second draft. So this is my second draft here, where you can tell I've been going for the 3-5-2s because that midfield area, that is where I want that's where I see the opportunity. I see the opportunity in my midfielders to move to other midfielders I want. I can also take money out of my midfield and pump it into my strikers if I need to. The thing I love most about this one is Salah and Mane double up. They've got 2 lovely fixtures, and then in game week 3, I can either move Mane to Son if I want to, or I can take that money out of Mane and dump it into Vardy, and he becomes Lukaku or Kane potentially if we get to that one. I like Barkman and Foster as a double up. I'm not a massive fan of Sanchez at the moment, just because I feel like that defence has just been ravaged with injury. Shaw, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. 6 million is a bit expensive, but I do really like Shaw as an option. Alexander-Arnold's obviously in all of them. Soufal as well. Havertz has an unbelievable first game week fixture against Crystal Palace, and he's most likely going to be playing up top. He's captaincy material for me as well. He's had a great pre-season. He looked great at the end of last year. I really, really like Havertz in this one. Benrahma, as I've just spoken about, but I wouldn't want the double up with Antonio, and then Smith Rowe's in there too, who I've spoken about already too. I think Mane and Salah as a double up is lovely. I genuinely do. I think 12.5 million for Salah and 10 million for Mane. I think Mane is just a bargain. That's exactly the price he should be. I think FPL got it completely wrong. So I really genuinely like Mane. I think Salah and Mane, I'd be hard pressed. I'm gonna have a look and see if I can make a team with Mane, Salah, and Bruno, because I think that could be a lovely little team. And then up top, sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't he, Vardy? I've put Vardy in there to make it easier to get to Lukaku or Kane when I need to. Basically, I mean it'd be Kane more than anything. He's 9.5 million. I feel like Vardy is one of these players where nobody will bloody own him in the first game week. Oh, look at my hair going mad there. Nobody will own him in the first game week, and he'll get a brace. He'll get a brace against Wolves, and everybody will be like, oh, God, he's the forgotten man. Iheanacho's out of the picture by the looks of things. He's going to be starting on the bench and coming on as a bit of an impact sub. So Vardy, I do really like. I feel like he's somebody that not a lot of players are going to own. So he's a good differential to have, and he's a proven one as well. He takes penalties, and he's easy to upgrade to somebody else after a couple of games as well. Simon Thompson, like the draft, tempted by Jota, looked great in pre-season. Oh, I just haven't been tempted by him personally. I feel like for the money, is he going to play every week? I'm going to be dreading seeing the team sheets coming out every week, because I'm going to be like, oh, is Jota playing? Is Jota playing? Yes, he's going to play the first game, but after that, I feel like it's a bit of a gamble. The upside's there. It genuinely is. The upside's there. And if you wanted to go with Trent, Salah and Jota, I completely see it, because obviously Jota is that much cheaper than Mane again. But I just feel like it's a transfer waiting to happen. He gets rotated a lot. He comes off early a lot, and he gets injured a lot, which for me is the trifecta of no, I'm not going near him personally. We see it a lot at the moment with interviews with Josh, who won this last year. He says nailed on players is where he would go. And I think that's a really good tactic to go with. So Jota, I can understand the appeal, but I don't think I'd be going there personally. FPL Finn, seems like I've not seen Souček in many teams. 90 minutes is almost guaranteed. Yeah, I feel like West Ham changed last year. They were all about Souček at the beginning of the year, and it was effective, and they did well doing that. But I feel like it changed when Lingard came in. What's changed now? Lingard's gone. But Benrahma's started to come in and obviously start to put his imprint on their team. And I feel like Benrahma's going to take that Lingard role. I really think he's going to take that role. And that's got to excite you a bit, hasn't it? Souček, I think, will get goals still from set pieces, but I don't think the whole team is going to be based around him. He's not been in any of my drafts because I just love the upside of Benrahma more. I also love Antonio up top more, but I don't want that double up in an attacking sense from West Ham personally. So those are my two drafts. You can see that there's a lot of similarities with them. You know, Alexander-Arnold, Soufal, Salah are in all of them. Tony's in all of them as well. I've also got Ayling on my bench. I think he's the perfect 4.5 million defender personally. White is in a lot of them as well, just because they're these 4.5 million defenders that are going to play every game. Fofana was another one, wasn't he? But obviously he's not there anymore, unfortunately. So those are my two teams. If you've got any questions, chuck them in. It feels weird because this is the second time I've asked this, because I obviously did the stream to nobody for half an hour. I do apologise for that. But yeah, chuck in any questions that you've got. If there's any, do I pick this guy or this guy? What do I do here? What do we do there? When do I play my wild card? Anything like that, ask me. The thing I do love about this as well is that we haven't got chips, which is brilliant. You don't have to worry about chips. So you just set your team up and you just make sure your team is set for as long as possible. I will most probably be picking playing my wild card in probably game week 7. If everything goes well, if I get to play my wild card in game week 7, then everything's going very, very well. If I can somehow make it last longer than that, then brilliant. But I feel like there's a lot of fixture swings in game week 7. Leeds and Chelsea in particular, I feel like that is a good move to make, is to wildcard in game week 7 and change your team around a little bit. So I'm going to have just a minute of not talking, because you've had me talking for a very long time. I'm going to have my last bit of this, and then you can chuck in any questions you like, literally anything. I don't mind what it is, even if it's something like... what was it that Josh got asked the other day? Would you rather face 10 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck or something? I don't mind. Oh. Right, Ken Briggs says, Amati looks a good option for 4 million for Fofana. Yeah, he actually played quite well in the Community Shield as well. The thing that worries me about Amati is it just... I mean, to be honest, for 4 million, if you're happy to have a 4 million defender... and you get one game week out of him, then you've probably done quite well, haven't you? He's a transfer waiting to happen later down the line, but I think if you're quite happy to have a 4 million defender, then yeah, go for it. I don't mind that at all. I mean, if you look at my draft here, I probably don't need to have White and Ayling at 4.5 million. I could probably downgrade White to Amati or the Norwich lad whose name I can't pronounce, and I could put 0.5 million extra into the team, couldn't I? So I could probably do that absolutely fine. I don't think I'd be going for Amati personally, just because I feel like against Wolves, I mean, their defence seems to be in a bit of trouble at the moment as well. And if they're playing Amati at the back, yes, they played well against Man City, but it was Man City B, wasn't it? So, Simon Thompson, would you start or bench Tony for game week 1, Andy? I would start him 100%, because I tell you now, there'll be about 30-40% of people playing FanTeam that will also be starting him. And if you're the only one that's not starting him and he scores a goal or even gets 2 goals, it can happen. Game week 1, some strange things happen, and it's a Friday night. If you start your Friday night benching Tony and he does something, I think with Tony, you're just going to have to be happy to play him every week. You're going to, because for 6 million, he's a bargain. You want to be able to use that position. So I would be playing him personally. I'd be very, very surprised if I went into game week 1 and I was benching him. If I was benching him, I feel like maybe my team isn't set up properly. So, yeah, I will 100% be playing him. Right, lovely stuff. I think I was a bit quicker than the first time round I did it. So, lads, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Unless I've got any other questions in the chat, which I don't think I do. Enjoy your last 5 days of tinkering. If you've got any questions, make sure you have a look at our draftgym.com, because we have some fantastic content coming out of there, like I always say. Make sure you go into my DMs. I'm more than happy to chat to people. Absolutely fine, because FanTeam can be a bit daunting, especially if you're a new player as well. So to all of you that have been here, thank you very much for joining me. Especially thank you very much for anybody that waited half an hour for me to actually press go live. Jesus.